From Scarcity to Surplus, written and published by Rich Audiobooks. Scarcity is a mindset, not a bank balance. You can have money and still feel broke, or have very little and still think abundantly. The journey from just surviving to truly thriving starts in your mind. When you shift your thoughts from fear to possibility, from lack to overflow, your entire financial reality begins to change. Surplus isn't about having too much, it's about finally having enough, and knowing more is always on the way. Lesson 1. Scarcity is inherited, surplus is chosen. The moment you were born, you inherited more than just your physical traits. You inherited a complete framework for how to think about and interact with money. Like a family heirloom passed down through generations, your earliest money beliefs were carefully wrapped in your parents' fears, your grandparents' struggles, and your community's financial traumas. These inherited patterns run deep, shaping your financial decisions in ways you might not even recognize. Think back to the dinner table conversations about money in your childhood home. Perhaps you heard phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "We can't afford that," or "Rich people are greedy." These weren't just casual remarks. They were programming statements, embedding themselves into your subconscious mind and forming the foundation of your money story. Your family's financial habits, whether they involved careful budgeting, living paycheck to paycheck, or avoiding money discussions altogether, became your template for what's normal in the world of money. But here's the liberating truth. While scarcity might be inherited, surplus is a choice you can make today. Just as you wouldn't blindly accept outdated medical advice from previous generations, you don't have to accept their limiting money beliefs. Every time you make a conscious decision about money, you're either reinforcing old patterns or writing a new story. The power to choose lies entirely in your hands. Consider how your current financial behaviors might be echoing the past. Do you find yourself repeating the same money mistakes your parents made? Do you feel guilty when you succeed beyond your family's level of wealth? These are signs that you're operating from inherited scarcity rather than chosen surplus. Breaking free requires more than just learning new financial strategies. It demands a fundamental rewiring of your relationship with money. The path to surplus begins with awareness. Start noticing the money stories you tell yourself. When you say, "I could never afford that," or "That's not for people like me," you're speaking from your inheritance, not your potential. Challenge these thoughts. Question their origin. Ask yourself if they truly serve your highest good or if they're simply comfortable because they're familiar. Your financial DNA isn't your destiny. Each day presents countless opportunities to choose differently, to select abundance over lack, growth over limitation, possibility over restriction. When you encounter a financial decision, pause and ask yourself, am I choosing this from my inherited scarcity mindset, or am I consciously choosing surplus? The transformation from scarcity to surplus isn't just about making more money. It's about fundamentally shifting how you view wealth, opportunity, and your right to prosper. It's about recognizing that while your past may have given you your first money story, you have the power to write the next chapters. This journey requires courage, as you'll often be the first in your family line to break old patterns and establish new ones. Choosing surplus doesn't mean rejecting your family's experiences or dismissing their struggles. Instead, it means honoring their journey while choosing to write a new story, one that serves not just you, but future generations. Every time you choose abundance over scarcity, you're not just changing your own life, you're creating a new inheritance for those who will follow. Your journey from scarcity to surplus begins with this fundamental understanding. What you inherited is not what you're destined to perpetuate. The choices you make today will shape not only your financial future, but the money mindset of generations to come. The question isn't whether you inherited scarcity, it's whether you'll choose surplus from this moment forward. Lesson 2. You have enough, now grow it. The most paralyzing belief in your financial journey isn't that you need more, it's that you don't have enough to start. This mindset keeps countless people stuck in patterns of waiting, hoping that someday they'll have enough to begin building wealth. But here's the transformative truth. You already have enough to start your journey toward abundance. Look around you right now. Whether you have $1 or $1,000, you possess the seed of wealth. Every great fortune began with someone deciding that what they had was sufficient to take the first step. Warren Buffett started with paper route money. Oprah Winfrey began with a local radio job. Jeff Bezos launched Amazon from his garage. They didn't wait for perfect conditions, they started with what they had. Gratitude acts as the bridge between scarcity and abundance. When you acknowledge and appreciate what you currently possess, you activate a powerful psychological mechanism that attracts more of what you value. This isn't magical thinking, it's practical psychology. When you're grateful for your current resources, you become more attuned to opportunities to grow them. You start seeing possibilities instead of limitations. The shift from not enough to enough to begin requires a fundamental reframing of your relationship with money. Instead of viewing your current financial situation as a barrier, see it as your launching pad. Every dollar you have is a seed that can be planted for growth. Every skill you possess is a tool for creating value. Every relationship you built is a potential pathway to opportunity. Consider this. If you have enough money to buy a cup of coffee, you have enough to start investing. That same amount could buy a fraction of a share in a growing company. If you have enough to pay for streaming services, you have enough to begin building an emergency fund. The key isn't the amount you start with, it's the decision to start growing what you have. Your current financial situation contains hidden assets you might not recognize. Perhaps you have skills that could generate a side income, belongings that could be sold to create investment capital, or knowledge that others would pay to learn. The abundance mindset isn't about denying your current reality. It's about seeing the potential within it. Growth begins with stewardship of what you already have. When you demonstrate responsibility and creativity with your current resources, you develop the habits and mindset necessary for managing greater abundance. This means tracking every dollar, making intentional spending decisions, and treating your current income as the important asset it is. The path to surplus starts with recognizing that enough isn't a destination. It's a decision. You decide when what you have is enough to begin. You decide when to stop waiting and start acting. You decide when to transform your relationship with money from one of scarcity to one of potential. Your journey to abundance doesn't require you to have everything figured out. It doesn't demand perfect conditions or vast resources. It simply requires you to acknowledge that what you have right now, your current money, skills, relationships, and opportunities, is sufficient to begin. The rest will come through consistent action, learning, and growth. Starting today, look at your current financial situation through new eyes. Instead of focusing on what's missing, identify what's present. Rather than lamenting what you lack, inventory what you possess. Your path to surplus begins with the profound recognition that you already have enough to start growing toward the abundance you desire. Lesson 3. There is always more money. Money is not a finite resource, though many of us were taught to believe it is. This pervasive myth of scarcity has created artificial boundaries around our financial potential, leading us to believe we must compete for limited resources or that someone else's gain automatically means our loss. But money, in its truest form, is simply energy, multiplied and circulated infinitely. Think about how money has evolved throughout history, from shells and beads to digital currencies and investment vehicles. With each evolution, the possibilities for wealth creation have expanded. Today, more millionaires and billionaires exist than ever before, yet their wealth hasn't depleted the world's financial resources. Instead, new technologies, innovations, and ideas continuously generate fresh streams of abundance. The concept of artificial scarcity often manifests in our self-imposed income ceilings. We might believe that our profession, education level, or background determines our maximum earning potential. These mental barriers become self-fulfilling prophecies, causing us to overlook opportunities or reject possibilities that could exponentially increase our income. When we understand that money is abundant, we begin to see opportunities everywhere, in problems waiting to be solved, in needs waiting to be met, and in value waiting to be created. Your current income is not a reflection of your worth or potential. It's merely a reflection of your current money beliefs and the actions those beliefs have inspired. Every person who has dramatically increased their income first had to break through their internal money ceiling. They had to embrace the truth that more money was not only possible but constantly available to those who align themselves with its flow. Money blocks often disguise themselves as rational thoughts. That's too risky, I'm not qualified enough, or the market is saturated. These seemingly logical concerns actually stem from deeper limiting beliefs about money's availability and our worthiness to receive it. When we examine these blocks closely, we often find they're based on past experiences, cultural programming, or fears rather than current reality. The path to greater wealth begins with identifying and challenging these blocks. Start noticing when you automatically dismiss financial opportunities or assume something is beyond your reach. Question whether these assumptions are based on facts or inherited beliefs. Consider how someone with an abundance mindset might view the same situation. Would they see barriers or bridges, limitations or launching pads? Money responds to value creation. Instead of focusing on the money itself, focus on increasing your value to others. How can you solve bigger problems, serve more people, create more impact? The more value you create, the more pathways you open for money to flow into your life. This might mean developing new skills, expanding your network, or finding innovative ways to leverage your existing resources. Your relationship with money's abundance is also reflected in how you treat the money you currently have. Do you approach financial decisions from a place of fear and restriction, or from a place of growth and possibility? When you truly believe there is always more money, you make decisions based on opportunity rather than scarcity. You invest in yourself, your growth, and your future with confidence, knowing that money spent wisely returns multiplied. The universe operates on principles of expansion and abundance. Nature doesn't count its seeds before spreading them across fertile soil. It produces in excess, knowing that abundance begets abundance. Apply this same principle to your financial life. Plant more seeds than you think you need, explore more opportunities than seem necessary, and cultivate a deep knowing that there is always more money available to those who align themselves with its infinite nature. Lesson 4. Fear loses to flow. Money, like water, seeks movement. Yet fear acts as a dam, blocking the natural flow of abundance in our lives. When we operate from a place of financial fear, we create resistance that prevents wealth from flowing freely through our experience. Understanding this dynamic is the first step toward transforming your relationship with money from one of constriction to one of expansion. Think about how you feel when gripped by financial fear. Your muscles tense, your breathing becomes shallow, and your mind races with worst-case scenarios. This physiological response triggers a chain reaction that affects your decision-making abilities and clouds your judgment. In this state, you're more likely to make choices that reinforce scarcity rather than cultivate abundance. The antidote to financial fear is embracing flow. Flow state in relation to money means maintaining a balanced approach to both receiving and giving. When money flows into your life, you accept it gracefully. When opportunities arise to invest or spend wisely, you do so without the paralyzing grip of fear. This natural circulation creates a healthy money ecosystem in your personal economy. Consider how nature demonstrates this principle. A river that flows freely nourishes everything in its path, creating fertile ground for growth and abundance. But a river that's blocked becomes stagnant, unable to support life and prosperity. Your money energy works the same way. When you allow it to flow through conscious spending, strategic investing, and generous giving, you create conditions for wealth to multiply. The shift from fear to flow begins with small steps. Start by observing your physical and emotional responses when handling money matters. Do you notice tension when paying bills? Does your throat tighten when discussing finances? These bodily signals indicate where fear is blocking your flow. By bringing awareness to these responses, you can begin to consciously relax and choose different reactions. Developing a flow mindset requires trust in the universal principles of abundance. Just as you trust that air will be available for your next breath, you can cultivate trust that money will continue flowing into your life. This isn't blind faith, but rather an understanding that aligning yourself with the natural flow of abundance creates more opportunities for wealth to reach you. Fear often manifests as over-control with money. You might find yourself obsessively checking accounts, hoarding resources, or avoiding financial decisions altogether. While prudent management is important, attempting to control money through fear-based behaviors actually repels abundance. Instead, adopt the mindset of a conscious channel for wealth, allowing money to flow through your life with purpose and intention. Creating practical money flow habits can help override fear-based patterns. Set up automatic investments to ensure regular outflow of money into growth opportunities. Practice spontaneous generosity when you feel inspired. Pay bills with gratitude, knowing that your money is supporting services and businesses that add value to your life. These actions reinforce the reality that money is meant to circulate, not stagnate. Fear and flow cannot coexist in the same space. Every time you choose to act from a place of flow consciousness rather than fear, you strengthen your abundance mindset. Start viewing money as energy that's meant to move freely through your life. When you remove the emotional barriers of fear, you open yourself to the natural state of abundance that's always available to you. Your relationship with money is ultimately a reflection of your trust in life itself. As you release the grip of financial fear and embrace the principle of flow, you'll find yourself making decisions from a place of possibility rather than limitation. This shift not only affects your financial reality but ripples out to influence every aspect of your life, creating a new paradigm of abundance that becomes your natural way of being. Lesson 5. Don't save from fear, invest from faith. Money habits often stem from deep-seated emotions, and none is more powerful than fear. Many of us save money not from a place of wisdom and preparation, but from a place of anxiety and scarcity. We clutch our resources tightly, believing that if we let go, even a little, we'll somehow lose everything. This fear-based approach to saving actually constricts our financial growth and limits our potential for wealth creation. When we save from fear, we make decisions based on worst-case scenarios. We keep excessive amounts in low-yield savings accounts, missing opportunities for growth. We avoid calculated risks that could multiply our resources. We focus so intensely on protecting what we have that we forget to create space for what could be. This defensive posture toward money management keeps us trapped in a cycle of scarcity, even when our bank accounts suggest otherwise. Investing from faith represents a fundamentally different approach to building wealth. This doesn't mean blind optimism or reckless financial decisions. Instead, it means having confidence in your ability to make informed choices, trust in the natural expansion of resources when properly managed, and belief in your capacity to learn and grow as an investor. Faith-based investing acknowledges risks while focusing on possibilities rather than potential disasters. This shift from fear to faith transforms how we view and handle money. Instead of seeing saving as a protective barrier against future catastrophe, we begin to see it as the foundation for strategic growth. We start asking different questions, not what's the safest place to store my money, but where can my money work hardest for me? Not how can I avoid losing, but how can I position myself for optimal gains while managing reasonable risks? The practical application of faith-based investing might mean moving some funds from a low-interest savings account into a diversified investment portfolio. It could mean investing in yourself through education or starting that business you've been dreaming about. It might involve real estate investments or funding innovative solutions to problems you understand deeply. The specific vehicles for investment matter less than the mindset behind the decisions. This new approach requires us to develop a healthy relationship with uncertainty. While fear-based savers try to eliminate all uncertainty, an impossible task, faith-based investors learn to navigate it wisely. They understand that some degree of uncertainty is not just inevitable but necessary for growth. They know that the biggest financial opportunities often lie just beyond their comfort zone, in that space where preparation meets possibility. Consider the difference between planting seeds and hoarding them. A fear-based saver holds onto their seeds, protecting them from all potential threats. A faith-based investor plants them strategically, trusting in the natural process of growth while taking practical steps to nurture that growth. They understand that while not every seed will flourish, the ones that do will multiply their initial investment many times over. Faith-based investing doesn't mean abandoning prudence or ignoring market realities. Rather, it means approaching wealth building with a fundamentally different energy. It means maintaining appropriate emergency funds while actively seeking opportunities for growth. It means researching and understanding your investments while remaining open to possibilities beyond your current knowledge. Most importantly, it means trusting that as you develop your financial intelligence and take calculated risks, your resources will naturally expand. The transition from saving through fear to investing through faith represents one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your financial journey. It opens new possibilities, attracts opportunities, and creates the mental space necessary for true wealth creation. Your money begins to feel less like a scarce resource to be protected and more like a tool for creating value and abundance in your life and the lives of others. Lesson 6. Replace "I can't" with "How can I?" The words "I can't" are perhaps the most dangerous phrase in your financial vocabulary. These two simple words form an impenetrable wall between you and your wealth potential, creating a self-imposed prison that limits your economic growth. Every time you utter, "I can't afford it," "I can't make more money," or "I can't figure this out," you're laying another brick in that wall. But what if you could demolish this barrier with a simple linguistic shift? By replacing "I can't" with "How can I?" you transform dead ends into doorways. This question opens your mind to possibilities, engages your creative problem-solving abilities, and puts you in an action-oriented mindset. When you ask, "How can I afford this investment?" your brain immediately begins searching for solutions. Maybe it's finding additional income streams, reducing unnecessary expenses, or restructuring your current financial commitments. The power of this shift extends beyond mere positive thinking. It fundamentally changes your relationship with challenges. Instead of seeing financial obstacles as permanent roadblocks, you begin to view them as puzzles waiting to be solved. This perspective shift activates your innate resourcefulness and innovation. When faced with a desired purchase or investment opportunity, rather than dismissing it as impossible, you start exploring creative financing options, networking possibilities, or alternative approaches to achieve your goal. Consider how this plays out in real situations. Rather than saying, "I can't start a business because I don't have capital," ask, "How can I gather the resources to start my business?" This might lead you to discover bootstrapping strategies, crowdfunding opportunities, or potential partners you hadn't considered. Instead of declaring, "I can't save money on my current income," question, "How can I create more room in my budget?" This could reveal unnecessary subscriptions, better shopping strategies, or opportunities for negotiating better rates on your existing bills. This linguistic shift also changes your emotional state. "I can't" often comes with feelings of helplessness, frustration, and resignation. "How can I?" generates curiosity, excitement, and engagement. This emotional transformation is crucial because your feelings about money directly influence your financial decisions and actions. When you're in a solution-focused state, you're more likely to take productive actions and persist through challenges. The beauty of this approach lies in its simplicity and immediate applicability. You don't need special training or resources to begin, just a commitment to catch yourself when you're about to say or think, "I can't," and deliberately replace it with, "How can I?" This small change creates a ripple effect that influences every aspect of your financial life. Your conversations about money become more productive, your financial planning more determined. As you practice this shift, you'll notice that your financial vocabulary naturally expands beyond the basic question, "How can I?" evolves into, "What if I?" and "What would happen if?" These questions further broaden your perspective and open up even more possibilities for wealth creation. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles and solutions where others see problems. This transformation in your financial language ultimately leads to a transformation in your financial reality. The questions you ask shape the answers you receive and the actions you take. By consistently replacing limiting statements with empowering questions, you create a mental environment where wealth can flourish. Your financial future becomes a series of exciting puzzles to solve rather than a set of unchangeable limitations to accept. Lesson 7. Surplus starts with thoughts. Every material achievement in your life began as a single thought. That expensive car in your driveway, your home, your business, your investments, they all started as mere ideas in your mind before manifesting in the physical world. This fundamental truth applies especially to wealth creation, where your thoughts about money shape your financial reality with remarkable precision. Your mind operates like fertile soil, continuously cultivating whatever seeds you plant within it. When you consistently think thoughts of scarcity, worry, and financial struggle, these thoughts take root and grow into corresponding experiences. But here's the empowering flip side. When you deliberately plant thoughts of abundance, prosperity, and financial success, these too will grow and flourish in your life. The thought-belief-action cycle is the mechanism through which your financial reality takes shape. Your thoughts about money form your beliefs, which then drive your actions, ultimately creating your results. This isn't mere positive thinking, it's a practical process that wealthy people have used throughout history. They think differently about money, seeing it as a tool for creation rather than a source of stress or limitation. Consider how the wealthy approach opportunities. They think in terms of leverage, multiplication, and exponential growth. They don't ask, "Can I afford this?" Instead, they ask, "How can I make this work?" This subtle shift in thinking opens up new neural pathways that lead to creative solutions and innovative approaches to wealth creation. Their thoughts naturally align with abundance, making wealth attraction a natural outcome rather than a constant struggle. To upgrade your wealth consciousness, start paying attention to your default money thoughts. When you check your bank account, what's your immediate reaction? When you see someone driving a luxury car, what thoughts cross your mind? These automatic responses reveal your current wealth programming. The good news is that this programming can be deliberately changed through consistent mental practice. Visualization plays a crucial role in this transformation. Successful athletes use visualization to improve their performance, and wealthy people do the same. Spend time each day visualizing yourself making confident financial decisions, watching your investments grow, and experiencing the feeling of financial freedom. Your brain doesn't distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones, so these visualizations actually create new neural patterns that support wealth creation. The language of your thoughts matters immensely. Replace phrases like "I can't afford it" with "I'm choosing to invest my way out there right now." Transform "money is hard to come by" into "money flows easily into my life through multiple channels." These aren't just affirmations, they're new thought patterns that reshape your financial reality. As you consistently think these new thoughts, they become beliefs, and your actions naturally align with this new wealth consciousness. Your current financial situation reflects your past thoughts and beliefs, not your future potential. Just as a garden can be replanted with new seeds, your mind can be reprogrammed with new thoughts that support abundance. Start each day by consciously choosing thoughts that align with wealth and prosperity. See yourself as a money magnet, attracting financial opportunities effortlessly. Imagine yourself making wise investment decisions and watching your wealth grow. Your thoughts create your reality through the actions they inspire and the opportunities they allow you to recognize. When you think like wealthy people think, you naturally begin to act like wealthy people act. You notice opportunities others miss, make decisions with greater confidence, and approach money from a position of power rather than fear. This is how surplus starts not in your bank account, but in the fertile soil of your thought. Lesson 8. Lack is a mindset, not reality. The most powerful prison is the one we build in our minds. When it comes to money and resources, many of us live behind mental bars of perceived scarcity, convinced that there isn't enough to go around. We see limitations everywhere we look, focusing on what's missing rather than what's available. This perception of lack becomes our reality, not because it's true, but because we've trained ourselves to see the world through a filter of scarcity. Consider how often you've told yourself, "I can't afford that," without even checking your accounts or exploring creative solutions. Think about the times you've assumed something was out of reach before investigating all possibilities. These automatic responses stem from a mindset of lack that has become so ingrained it feels like objective truth rather than a subjective perspective. The world around us contains abundant resources, opportunities, and possibilities. Nature itself operates on principles of abundance. Trees produce thousands more seeds than they need, the sun radiates more energy than Earth could ever use, and the universe continues to expand infinitely. Scarcity only exists in human-made systems, and, more importantly, in human mind. When we understand this fundamental truth, we can begin to see that our experience of lack is a learned response rather than an unchangeable reality. Breaking free from the illusion of scarcity requires us to become aware of how we artificially limit ourselves. Every time we encounter what appears to be a limitation, we must train ourselves to ask, "Is this really true, or is this just my habitual way of thinking?" More often than not, we'll discover that the walls we're hitting are made of thoughts rather than concrete. Take the common belief that good jobs are scarce. This mindset leads people to stay in unfulfilling positions, afraid to seek better opportunities. Yet even during economic downturns, new businesses form, industries evolve, and opportunities emerge. The real limitation isn't the job market, it's our willingness to see and pursue possibilities beyond our current situation. The same principle applies to money itself. While you might have a specific amount in your bank account at this moment, that number is not a fixed reality. It's a temporary snapshot that can change based on your actions, decisions, and most importantly, your mindset. When you view your current financial situation as fluid rather than fixed, you open yourself to possibilities for growth and expansion. Constraints and challenges exist in the physical world, but they're rarely as absolute as we make them out to be. What appears to be a dead end often contains hidden doorways to unexpected solutions. The key is training your mind to look for these openings rather than accepting the apparent limitation at face value. Every constraint can become a catalyst for creativity if we approach it with the right mindset. This shift from seeing lack to recognizing abundance requires consistent practice. Start by catching yourself when you automatically assume something isn't possible. Question your instant reactions of "I can't" or "there isn't enough." Look for evidence that contradicts your scarcity-based assumptions. Notice how often solutions appear when you remain open to possibilities rather than shutting down at the first sign of limitation. Transforming your relationship with reality means understanding that abundance isn't just a positive thinking technique, it's the natural state of the universe. Your task isn't to create abundance where none exists, but rather to align your perception with the abundance that already surrounds you. When you truly grasp this truth, you'll stop seeing lack as reality and start recognizing it as the mental construct it really is. The world mirrors back to us what we project onto it. When we expect scarcity, we notice every instance of not enough. When we adjust our lens to see abundance, we begin to recognize the countless opportunities and resources available to us. Your external reality will shift as your internal perspective transforms, not because the world has changed, but because you're finally seeing it as it truly is, a place of infinite possibility rather than limitation. Lesson 9. Upgrade your language, upgrade your life. The words you speak cast spells on your financial reality. Every time you describe your money situation, you're either reinforcing old patterns or creating new possibilities. Your vocabulary shapes your financial destiny more powerfully than any investment strategy or budgeting system ever could. Think about how you typically discuss money matters. Do you catch yourself saying phrases like, "I'm broke, I can't afford it," or "money doesn't grow on trees"? These seemingly innocent expressions are actually verbal contracts with scarcity. Each time you utter them, you're programming your subconscious mind to seek evidence that confirms these limiting beliefs. Your brain becomes an expert at spotting proof of your financial limitations while simultaneously blocking awareness of abundant opportunities. The wealthy speak a distinctly different language. They use phrases like, "I'm investing in my future," "I choose to allocate my resources elsewhere," or "money flows easily to me." This isn't mere positive thinking. It's the conscious creation of a prosperity-oriented reality through precise linguistic choices. When you adopt the vocabulary of abundance, you train your mind to recognize and attract financial opportunities. Consider the dramatic difference between saying, "I'm in debt," versus "I'm managing my financial obligations while building wealth." The first statement identifies you with the problem, making it part of your identity. The second acknowledges the current situation while maintaining a growth-oriented perspective. This subtle shift in language creates entirely different emotional states and, consequently, different actions and results. Your internal dialogue about money matters just as much as your spoken words. When you see something you desire, do you immediately think, "That's too expensive?" Or do you ask yourself, "How can I create the means to acquire this?" The wealthy have mastered the art of possibility-focused internal communication. They don't deny financial realities, but they frame them as temporary situations rather than permanent conditions. The language of wealth also involves asking better questions. Instead of "Why am I always struggling with money?" ask, "What opportunities am I not seeing?" Rather than wondering, "How will I ever afford this?" explore, "What skills or value can I create to generate this amount?" Quality questions lead to quality answers, and quality answers lead to improved financial circumstances. Your money story, the narrative you tell yourself and others about your financial life, needs regular auditing and updating. Start catching yourself when you use scarcity-based expressions and consciously replace them with abundance-affirming alternatives. When you hear yourself say, "I can't afford it," switch to, "I'm choosing to invest my money elsewhere right now." Replace "money is tight" with, "I'm in the process of expanding my financial resources." This linguistic upgrade extends beyond money talk. The way you describe your time, energy, and opportunities all influence your wealth consciousness. Phrases like, "I don't have time" can be transformed into, "I'm choosing to prioritize differently." "I'm exhausted" becomes, "I'm learning to better manage my energy." These shifts might seem superficial at first, but they create new neural pathways that lead to different choices and results. The language of abundance also acknowledges the cyclical nature of wealth. Rather than speaking of financial goals as endpoints, frame them as stages in an ongoing journey of growth. Instead of saying, "When I make six figures, I'll be set," try, "As my income grows, I'm discovering new ways to create and contribute value." Your words are seeds planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness. By mindfully choosing the language of prosperity, you create an internal environment where wealth can naturally flourish. This isn't about denying financial challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about using language that empowers rather than diminishes your potential for abundance. Lesson 10. Abundance is your natural state. When you observe nature, you witness an undeniable truth. Abundance flows effortlessly and endlessly. Trees don't question whether they'll produce enough leaves or fruit. Rivers don't worry about running dry. The universe operates on principles of expansion, multiplication, and perpetual giving. This natural abundance is your birthright, and recognizing this truth is the first step to reclaiming your place in this abundant universe. Your body itself is a testament to this natural state of abundance. Every breath brings new life-giving oxygen, every heartbeat pumps vital nutrients, and every cell works in perfect harmony to maintain your existence. Your body naturally knows how to create, heal, and regenerate. This same principle extends to every aspect of your life, including your financial well-being. The only difference is that somewhere along the way you learn to resist this natural flow. Consider how children approach life before they're taught about limitation. They assume they can have what they want, create what they imagine, and achieve what they set their minds to. They don't start with thoughts of scarcity or unworthiness. These are learned responses. Your journey back to abundance begins with unlearning these artificial constraints and remembering your natural state of being. The universe operates through fundamental laws of attraction and expansion. Just as plants grow toward the sun, your natural inclination is toward growth and abundance. When you align with this truth, you stop fighting against your nature and start flowing with it. Money, resources, and opportunities begin to flow more easily because you're no longer restricting their natural movement through fear and doubt. This alignment requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing abundance as something to achieve, recognize it as something to allow. Your task isn't to create abundance, it already exists. Your role is to remove the barriers you've placed between yourself and your natural state of plenty. These barriers might be limiting beliefs, fear-based decisions, or scarcity-driven habits that you've developed over time. Living from this understanding transforms your approach to wealth creation. Rather than pushing and straining to make things happen, you begin to work with the natural flow of abundance. You recognize opportunities more readily because you're attuned to their presence. You make decisions from a place of possibility rather than limitation. Your actions become expressions of abundance rather than reactions to scarcity. This natural state of abundance also implies a responsibility to participate in the flow. Just as nature continuously cycles through seasons of giving and receiving, your role is to both receive and contribute to this flow. When you withhold your gifts, talents, or resources out of fear, you're actually restricting the natural circulation of abundance in your life. The practice of living from abundance rather than striving for it changes everything. Your decisions become clearer because they're aligned with your natural state. Your actions become more effective because they're in harmony with universal principles. Your results improve because you're no longer working against yourself. You begin to experience what it feels like to be in your natural state of abundance, and this experience creates a positive feedback loop that generates even more abundance. Abundance isn't just about money, it's about living in alignment with the natural state of the universe. When you embrace this truth, money becomes just one of many expressions of the abundance that's already present in your life. Your natural state is one of unlimited potential, endless possibility, and perpetual growth. Living from this understanding allows you to experience the wealth that has always been your birthright. Lesson 11. The myth of limited success has kept countless people from reaching their full potential. We've been conditioned to believe that wealth and abundance are scarce resources, that for one person to win, another must lose. This zero-sum thinking creates unnecessary competition, fear, and resistance to supporting others' success. The truth is far more expansive. Prosperity multiplies when shared, and there's infinite space for everyone to thrive. Consider how nature operates. When one flower blooms, it doesn't prevent others from blossoming. Instead, its beauty and nectar attract pollinators that help other flowers flourish. The same principle applies to wealth creation. When one person builds a successful business, they create opportunities for employees, suppliers, customers, and competitors who serve different market segments. Their success becomes a catalyst for others' growth. This abundance mindset becomes particularly powerful when we stop viewing others' achievements as threats to our own. Every millionaire who shares their story, every entrepreneur who mentors others, and every investor who teaches their strategies makes the pie bigger for everyone. They demonstrate that success leaves clues, and that studying these patterns accelerates our own journey to prosperity. Top isn't a cramped space, it's an ever-expanding frontier. Technology and innovation constantly create new opportunities and markets. When social media emerged, it didn't just make Mark Zuckerberg wealthy, it created millions of new entrepreneurs, influencers, and digital marketers. The same happens in every industry. Pioneers don't block the path, they illuminate it for others to follow and improve upon. Our collaborative potential multiplies when we embrace this truth. Instead of hoarding knowledge or opportunities, we can freely share insights, make introductions, and celebrate others' wins. This generosity paradoxically accelerates our own growth. Every connection we help create, every piece of advice we share, and every person we lift strengthens our network and expands our opportunities. The world's wealthiest people often exemplify this principle. They frequently become philanthropists, mentors, and investors in others' dreams. They understand that their success doesn't diminish when shared, it compounds. Their wealth becomes a tool for creating more wealth, not just for themselves, but for entire communities and industries. This mindset shift transforms how we approach our goals. Instead of asking, "What if someone beats me to it?" we ask, "Who can I collaborate with?" Rather than viewing competitors as threats, we see them as validation that our market has room for multiple success stories. This perspective frees us to focus on our unique value proposition instead of wasteful competition. Wealth, unlike physical resources, isn't finite. Money is simply a representation of value, and humans have an infinite capacity to create value through innovation, service, and problem-solving. When we grasp this truth, we stop viewing others' success as a threat to our own potential. We realize that studying and supporting others' achievements actually accelerates our journey to the top. The abundance at the top grows through collaboration, not isolation. Every person who succeeds creates new possibilities for others. They prove what's possible, establish new business models, and often become investors or mentors themselves. Their success doesn't reduce your chances, it increases them by proving what's possible and creating new pathways to prosperity. As you progress on your wealth journey, maintain this expansive vision. Share freely, collaborate generously, and celebrate others' wins as proof of what's possible. The top isn't a zero-sum game. It's an ever-expanding space where success breeds success, and abundance multiplies through sharing. Your rise to prosperity doesn't require others to fall. Instead, it creates a rising tide that lifts all boats willing to sail. Lesson 12. You attract what you expect. Our expectations shape our reality with remarkable precision, especially when it comes to money and abundance. Like a self-fulfilling prophecy, the financial outcomes we deeply expect tend to manifest in our lives, whether those expectations are of wealth or scarcity. This powerful truth operates continuously in our lives, often below our conscious awareness. When you walk into a high-end store expecting to be treated poorly, your body language, tone, and energy often create exactly that experience. Conversely, when you enter any situation expecting to be treated with respect and dignity, you naturally carry yourself differently, speak more confidently, and attract corresponding treatment. This same principle applies to your relationship with money and wealth. Your financial expectations create subtle but significant shifts in your behavior. If you expect money to be hard to come by, you'll unconsciously avoid opportunities, hesitate to ask for raises, or talk yourself out of profitable ventures before even trying. These small decisions, multiplied over time, create exactly the financial reality you anticipated. Yet when you expect abundance, you become alert to opportunities, quick to take calculated risks, and naturally confident in financial negotiations. The beautiful truth about expectations is that they're entirely within your control. While you can't control every external circumstance, you have complete authority over what you choose to expect. This isn't about naive optimism or magical thinking. It's about setting intentional expectations that drive productive behaviors and decisions. When you expect to find ways to increase your income, your brain naturally begins searching for solutions. When you expect investments to work in your favor, you're more likely to study, learn, and make informed choices. Consider how your current financial situation reflects your long-held expectations. Have you been expecting just enough to get by? Have you been expecting debt to be a permanent part of your life? Have you been expecting wealth to be something that happens to other people but not to you? These expectations aren't random. They're programmed beliefs that have been guiding your financial decisions and actions. Transforming your expectations requires conscious effort and practice. Start by examining your default financial expectations and asking yourself where they came from. Are they serving your highest good? Would different expectations create better results? Then begin deliberately choosing new expectations that align with your desired financial reality. Expect opportunities to come your way. Expect your skills to be valued highly in the marketplace. Expect your investments to grow. Expect abundance to flow naturally into your life. Your new expectations must be backed by aligned action. If you expect to attract wealth, you must act in ways that wealthy people act. If you expect financial opportunities, you must position yourself to recognize and seize them. If you expect your value to be recognized, you must consistently deliver and communicate that value. Your actions will naturally flow from your genuine expectations, creating a powerful cycle of expectation, action, and results. Expectations work at both conscious and subconscious levels. Beyond just telling yourself positive things, you must work to truly believe in the possibility of your desired outcomes. This deeper belief comes through education, preparation, and gradually expanding your comfort zone. As you gain small wins and build confidence, your expectations naturally elevate, creating space for even greater abundance to enter your life. The universe has an uncanny way of meeting us at the level of our expectations. When you truly expect abundance, you become a magnet for opportunities, resources, and connections that support your financial growth. Your expectations become the blueprint for your financial future, attracting precisely what you've programmed yourself to receive. Choose your expectations wisely, for they are the seeds of your future wealth.